I'm Professor Leistico, and today I'm going to go over the syllabus for Humanities 1302, Introduction to Humanities II, the Renaissance to today. It's a 12-page document that you can find all of in Blackboard by clicking on the link in the course menu that says syllabus, and then kind of open it up. It'll be a PDF file. I'm not going to cover every inch of that document, so please go check it out in Blackboard to see all of it. I'm going to go over some of the key points and talk about what's in it so that you know when you have a question and you're wondering how to find the answer, you'll know what's in, whether or not, kind of have an idea of where to look in the syllabus. It begins with, here's what the class is, and then this is information about me. You can also find a link in Blackboard that says about contact your professor, and it has my email address in there. It doesn't have the phone number. I recommend that you use my email address to get a hold of me, and please use your ACC Gmail account to send email to me, and send a new message to me instead of replying to the announcements that I send, because your email could get lost in that. And also, the Blackboard email tool I find doesn't always work, so you're better off going into your ACC Gmail account. I know it's kind of a pain, but going in there and just start a new message to me and put in the subject line Humanities 1302 and maybe whatever your question might be. So some of you have already emailed me. That's great. It's always great to hear from you, especially in the beginning when you're just emailing me to say hello, or in the end when you're emailing me to tell me that you love the class, or those of you who love it, I hope all of you at least like it. It is 16 weeks of coursework that we are covering in 8 weeks, so it's going to move very quickly. So my virtual office hours are on Tuesdays from 3 to 4, and the way that works is that you would send me an email using your ACC Gmail account and let me know if you have a question. I'd answer it pretty quickly, or if you want to have a talk with me, we could have what would be like a phone call with no cameras on Google Meet, or I could arrange to do a Zoom meeting where we can see each other's faces if you would prefer that. It's up to you and your preference, and sometimes we can just do it over chat or email. I can answer your questions. I want you to know that I am available for other ways of communicating with you. I'm also available after hours if you need me. My office hours are Tuesdays from 3 to 4, and I understand some people have work day schedules that they couldn't meet with me until after 5, and if you really need to meet with me, just let me know and I will work something out with you. So case by case. There is a phone number in the syllabus. I recommend that you don't use that you use email instead. That phone number is to a mailbox that doesn't, ever ring me or alert me that there's a message in there. There's no way for me to know except to just kind of remember to check it every week or two, which I do, but not really nearly as frequently as I check email. I check email Monday through Friday every day, and then I stop around 5 o'clock. So if you email me at 6, you'll hear back from me the following day, with the exception of if you email me on a Friday night or Saturday night. Friday night or Saturday night, you will hear from me on Monday. If you email me on Sunday, you'll hear from me the following day. So I ask that you give me a 24-hour turnaround, although sometimes you won't have to wait that long, sometimes you will, especially if you send me an email during the weekend or after 5. And usually I'll email you before 5 the next day. So just understand that. Now, if you send me an email and it's been 2 days, you send me an email on Monday and it's Wednesday and you haven't heard from me, sometimes your email gets lost in my inbox. Sometimes if you reply the class email, it gets bundled up in there and I miss it, or you use Blackboard and it just never goes to me. So if you do that and you don't hear back from me, and honestly, sometimes it just end up lost in my spam or further down in my email. I missed it somehow, and I always try not to, but sometimes I make mistakes too. So if I miss you, please send another email to me, and just use your Gmail ACC account and send me an email and say, hey, I already tried to reach out to you once and I haven't heard back, and please let me know. And if that fails, you could try that phone number, or you could use the introduction form, Forum 1, to post that you are trying to reach me and are unable to. But the email should work on your second try. I definitely have had times where I open an email from a student who's like, hey, I emailed you, and if I look further, I could see that it got buried in spam, or sometimes I never got it, but often I just missed it. So please do get back to me and know that I will work with you. So I don't ever want anyone panicking. If you've emailed me and you can show that, you can tell me that, I definitely work with you. I'm not going to penalize you for me missing your email. It's just, I just know that. Okay, what's next? The course description. This just kind of gives you an idea of what we're covering in this class. We're covering humanities. In today's work, the first day's work actually introduces you, or is it Thursday's work? Might be Thursday, yeah. Thursday's work has you looking at Module 1 and kind of what are the humanities. And there's a really good interview of Carl Jung, the psychologist. He talks about why the humanities are important. So we'll have a little bit of introduction to what the humanities are and what we're learning. And we're going to be covering cultural work such as literature, visual arts, even, nonfiction essays, science and philosophy. And we'll be looking kind of at the history of that and how sort of the interconnected loop of how learning more about art and culture can teach us more about who humans are and human history, and learning more about the history teaches us more about the art and culture, so it's very connected and really cool. So page 1, the rest of page 1 goes over kind of the things that we're doing in this course and then learning objectives. If that's something that matters to you, you can find that everything I have you read, every assignment I have you do ties back in some way or other to these objectives. And there's more objectives, we got a lot of objectives, things that we want from you. And what I want from you is to have cultural literacy, or what they call cultural capital. And I think that helps you open doors to all kinds of other places, as education should do. This is kind of a general liberal arts class where you're getting a well-rounded experience of learning multiple, it's an interdisciplinary, so multiple disciplines, science, a little bit of science, not too much, philosophy, but more like painting and architecture and literature, a little more of that than the science and philosophy, but we cover it all, in history. So a nice little well-rounded education. So my goal for you is that you gain some more knowledge of our cultural history and become empowered in doing so. The required course materials are on page 2, and that is the Humanities, the Humanistic Tradition, Volume 2. Volume 1 would be Prehistory to Renaissance, so we want Volume 2. This is what it looks like if you were to get it, the latest edition, and it's really kind of pricey because we have to pay for the art. It's full of lovely art, and we'll be taking time to look at some of this art. Here's an older edition of the book, and if you want to save a few bucks, you could get away with this book, but if I ever refer to page numbers, I'm going to be referring to page numbers from this book, and they're different because this book added some stuff. It's a little more expensive, added some stuff, some content, and the page numbers will be this book. So if you're using this book, you're gonna have to figure it out, or you can let me know and I'll help you out. If you're like, hey, I've got this book and I really can't find it and I'm pulling my hair out, can you please help me? I will do what I can to help you. Because I can use both books to figure out what page number you're gonna need. So either edition is fine. Just get the book as soon as you can. With mail problems and things like that, I just want to make sure that you all get your hands on a copy. So you'll need it by Sunday for the first reading assignments. Then this talks about my instructional methodology and the fact that this is a distance education class, and then some links to kind of help you figure out what you need to get on top of being a good distance education learner. I'm just in a nutshell, this class is entirely online. It's asynchronous, so there are no class meetings. And I'm making this video for you. I don't usually do videos like this. This is for those of you who feel uncomfortable with online learning because you're forced into it by the pandemic or by the fact that we aren't offering any other alternatives. So I'm trying to go a little extra, kind of give a little extra for those of you who wouldn't have picked an online class and feel a little lost out there. I don't want you to feel lost, so please reach out to me anytime you feel lost, and I'll do what I can to help. Might take a couple of emails back and forth, but we'll get to the bottom of it. Page 3 lists some of the assignments, well, pretty much the assignments and brief descriptions of them. By no means is this a full description of your assignments. The full instructions can be found in the assignments folder in Blackboard, except for the midterm, still polishing that, kind of revising it a little bit. It'll be a project that you'll do. And then at the bottom of the page begins how your grades are broken down. And like I said, this is also excerpted, like looking at the bottom, hi! This is also excerpted in the syllabus highlights in Blackboard, so you can access that more quickly if you want to refer back to it. But this is how your grade is calculated, and you'll see that it is not out of 100 points, but out of 600 points is your grading system. Then we have course policies. So the course policies on page 4, attendance, you just need to do your work by the due date. You can do it ahead of time. I encourage you to work ahead if you can. And then be polite to each other, just be kind. Withdrawals, I typically won't drop you from the class. If you want my help dropping from the class, just let me know. Otherwise, you would end up with the grade that you had and not a W. So just make sure you understand all the rules and everything to do with withdrawals. I know it can be a lot, and if you get to that problem, it's on page 4. Late work and makeup work. So there's late work, which is just, you get 3 of those. And I don't penalize for late work or makeup work. I don't take points off of that. But I do have a very firm 7-day grace period for both. So after 7 days past the due date, that assignment is dead. It's like sealed and done. I will make exceptions for some kinds of emergencies, but even for makeup work, you've got 7 days. Unless you've been hospitalized beyond 7 days, and I'll work with you. So do let me know if you have a specific condition that you feel or situation that you feel merits having more than 7 extra days. But for the most part, unless you let me know you've got a good reason to need more than 7 days, you'll have 7 days. There's no penalty. If it's late work, no questions asked. You get to do it 3 times, and it doesn't matter what assignment it is. You just turn it in within 7 days, and I'll grade it when I get it. You should let me know as soon as you can. It's better if you let me know before the assignment is due, but even if you just let me know after or when you decide to submit it is fine too. But letting me know before helps me not put a 0 in the grade book for you. And so then, because if you wait till 7 days and you don't let me know, I might put a 0 in there, and you'll have to ask me. My cat's over here asking for attention. She's right here. You probably want to see her now, right? Let me pull her over. She's in a board game box. Come here, please. Ooh, hello. Come here. Say hi to my class. They want to know why I'm looking over in the wrong direction. Actually, I don't think y'all know this. She does not like being handled at all. Oh, come on, I'll put you back. Sorry about that interruption. This is the joys of working from home. I've actually been teaching online since, well, for longer than 2010. So I've been teaching online for quite a while. All right, so yes, my late work policy is a little bit unusual. I know, I admit that. But my goal for that is that you do the work, and that, if something comes up in your life that prevents you from getting it done on time, that you still have an option or an opportunity to do it. Or even if, hey, it's my kid's birthday, I don't want to do my work today, I'm going to do it tomorrow. Cool, that's fine. You get to do something like that 3 times. Or you just flat out forgot. Also fine, 3 times. No penalty, just get it to me within 7 days. Makeup work is a little bit different. There's not a limit on how much makeup work you can do, provided you can give me documentation of a campus given reason, and those are listed on page 5 of the syllabus. So ACC's policy is that an emergency will qualify you to do makeup work. No penalty and no limit. And the things that qualify you would be a death in your family. And it explains what family members count, but I really, if you tell me that it's a cousin or an aunt or your best friend or even your pet, and the same goes for emergency room visit, I'm going to be flexible on that. Although I might ask you to give me some kind of documentation, I'm not going to say that it's got to be a death or a sickness of one of these people. If it's someone who means a lot to you, then that can be very devastating. But ACC does have a specific definition. I just want you to know that please let me know if it's something that doesn't fall under this, because I'll probably still work with you. And like I said, even if it's a pet. Some of us are closer to our pets than we are to our parents, right? So, you know, and they need our care too. All right, and then I've added an additional reason or valid reason for you to ask for late work, and that is anything having to do with COVID-19, shelter in place, whether it's directly or indirectly, anything at all, whether it's work problems or anxiety problems or anything like that, just let me know, and I will count that as makeup work. It's a little bit harder to document, and there might be a point where I'm like, okay, you're pushing my limit on this. So, you know, I guess if you've asked me 3 times to do stuff late for COVID, I'll probably say, oh, we're going to start using your late work credits. Okay, but I'm going to be flexible with that for now. Okay, so that is, if you want more details on late work and makeup work, page 5 of the syllabus. Pages 4 and 5. Page 6 of the syllabus talks about incompletes, which I typically don't do. So unless you have a serious reason to ask for it, I would avoid doing that. Just try to not make that be your plan. Problem resolution. If you have a problem, please come to me. We'll talk it out. I'll even meet with you through Zoom, and we can just, you know, see each other in video and try to work it out. If you have a problem with a classmate, please come to me right away and let me know what's going on, and I'll do what I can to intervene. If we can't work it out between us, my supervisor's contact information is on page 6 of the syllabus. So that's right here. I don't know, kind of hide it, but it's right here. So page 6, kind of in the middle. Page 6 also begins all of the college policies, and they go on all the way to page 10. So 4 pages of ACC policies. Maybe 3.5. Maybe 3 if we're fair. We know that page 10 ends halfway through it. So a lot of ACC policies. What is important? Don't plagiarize. I have to report it if you do. Even if you accidentally plagiarize, I have to report that. So let's not plagiarize. Make sure you use quotation marks whenever you're taking ideas from an outside source. And if you're not directly quoting, you still need a parenthetical citation to let me know that that information came from another source. That is it in a nutshell. That's why I ask you to do the academic honesty tutorial as well, so that you know how to avoid plagiarism. So please take that very seriously. I don't like having to report it, but it's my responsibility. Speaking of responsibilities, the Students' Rights and Responsibilities Division and their information is on page 6. So they're there to protect your rights, and I actually serve on that committee right now. So if there's some rights that you're worried about, the most recent one that I'm happy about is that if you are a trans student and you want to change your name in Blackboard, you can do that. I'm not really sure how, but I can look for that if anyone wants to know. I think I have the link somewhere in my inbox. So that's really nice. So they're all out to protect your rights. If you have any kind of disputes, you can go to them and see what kinds of rights you have and get some help with that. Page 7 continues the statement on students with disabilities. There is a Student Accessibility Services department, and they will assess your needs and then send that document to me so that I can work with any needs that you have and any accommodations that you need. And that's on page 7. There's also a safety statement, which is a little less of a problem when we're at school and home, same as the concealed handgun policy, but it's still in the syllabus because it's still ACC's policies, so know about those. They're on page 7. And page 8 continues, like the handgun policy got like more than a page. So make sure that you are familiar with that. And then on page 9, we finish a little bit of handgun policy stuff, and then we go to you've got to use your ACC email. I'm not really supposed to reply to you if you email me using any other email address, and it could get lost. So, because it could go into my spam folder. So make sure you're using ACC mail to email me. Then there's the testing center policy on page 9, which is irrelevant for us. But it is in there in case you do need to know it. We don't have any exams, and the quizzes are done in Blackboard. Student and instruction services, it's a very brief blurb on page 9, and I actually have links to some of the services available to you under helpful resources in Blackboard, and I strongly encourage you to use those. It includes free tutoring, or I'd say tutoring you pay for in your tuition, so you should take advantage of it. And then some other resources, including counseling and financial help. Speaking of counseling, if you need a counselor, the information on page 10, let's see, back here, tells you how to go and find a counselor. So if you do need someone to talk to, that's right here. And the reason that's in here is because of a Texas Senate Bill 212. As a professor, and most members of ACC staff, and you can read more details here at the bottom under confidentiality, I am not a confident resource. While your grades remain confidential, unless you're early college, high school, we'll talk about that. If you want to, just let me know. Hey, what do you mean unless I'm in early college, high school? But anyway, your grades are between us, but if you come to me and you say, I'm going to read this because I want to make sure I get it right, okay? So if you come to me, I am required, this is what I'm reading, required to report for further investigation any information concerning incidents of sexual harassment, sexual assault, dating violence, and stalking committed by or against an ACC student or employee. So if you come to me with one of those kinds of problems, either you're doing it or someone's doing it to you, I have to, by law, report it. I am not allowed to keep that confidential. So just keep that in mind. You can still come to me, but you just need to know that I have to report that. So if you don't want it to be reported, there's also information on page 10 of the syllabus about counseling. And last, certainly not least, is your course calendar. And you'll see that in this column, these are the assignments to read or watch, video assignments, and then this is actually written assignments or quizzes. It's stuff you have to submit, stuff you have to read or do, stuff that needs submitted in this column, and then the days and the dates. And you'll see that there's a pattern that we're doing Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. So I recommend that you print this out if you can, if you have a printer, or take your whatever calendar you use, whether that's a virtual app or paper calendar, and write these due dates. And really smart tip, put them all in a day before they're actually due so that you're always one step ahead of things. That'll help prevent things like late work happening because your the internet went down, like mine did yesterday. So just a helpful tip, but definitely keep this. There is also a link in Blackboard called Calendar Quick Access or something like that. Quick access to the calendar. I don't remember what it's called. You can open it up and just get right to just this calendar, which is also attached to the syllabus. But if you want to just see what the calendar says, real quick, I mean, I use it a lot. I'm like, what? Before I send an announcement, I have them printed out and on my desk, but sometimes I just don't want to dig through the paper, so I'll just open it up and go see what's due today and send you guys a quick reminder. So I use it quite a bit too. All right, so that's it. Please email me if you have any questions, and I'm really looking forward to getting to know you this semester. Take care. I know, I keep looking over that way. The camera's over there. It's such a strange thing. Thanks for watching.